we don't need to explain this.
Yeah.
We can just enjoy it for what it is.
Hey everyone, welcome to Story
Story
Beards.
Beards.
I'm Zach,
I'm
and that
Chris.
is
I'm Chris.
hooray!
And today we're doing a segment called Movies Better Than It Should Be. We're going to highlight movies that might not be what we would classify as cinema or high film, but something that you watch and you walk away feeling good about yourself of, that was a good time. That was a good 90 minutes well spent and well worth the effort.
Yep.
So these aren't going to be instant classics. They're not going to be anything that really gets nominated for any awards, nor should they be. But again, it's all about the good time. So today's movie is Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. It stars Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo, which
I can't stop laughing even just thinking about it, just as you're introducing it, because it just makes me so happy. Continue, sorry.
Yeah, so we're not going to go over the plot because there really isn't much of a plot. Yeah. We're just going to talk about the things that we enjoyed about the movie. It is a comedy. It very much feels like an SNL skit that they elongated but still kept good.
Yeah.
As opposed to some of the SNL movies that they elongated and it couldn't hold your attention for the entire 90 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and my background for watching this, I had no desire to watch this movie at all. It was my wife that wanted to watch this movie. And so I was like, all right, fine. And we ordered it and we watched it at home. And there was a random scene in this movie where it went into a music video with like no explanation. And it was so perfect that I immediately had to text you. I think I texted you like the YouTube of that music video
for you to watch me that. Like, wow, you weren't even finished the film, and you sent me like 2 clips, and it made me so happy just based on that. I was like, yeah, I have to watch this.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: there is a line in this music video that says, I'm going up a palm tree like a cat up a palm tree that's decided to go up a palm tree. It is one of the most ridiculously written songs, but it's so funny. And so there are just little things like that I saw throughout that made me text you and needed to share this movie with you, which I think you watched it very shortly after I sent that to you.
I bought it. Like, you sent me the clips, and I was like, the price to rent right now is like about I think I'm going to enjoy this. And Chris and Jenna are both really happy about it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just get it. And I did not regret it. It justifies its existence by being silly, but like, it's well crafted. And just those 2 clips were like, yeah, this is bonkers and silly, and it makes me happy. So
I'll go back on my words a little bit. A little bit of the plot: Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo play friends, Barb and Star. And I guess it's set in Minnesota, but
I don't even know.
Only Kristen and Annie have Minnesota accents. Nobody else does.
It's worth seeing just based the 2 of them alone. It's worth just hearing the way they talk, and they're making each other laugh. But it's not just other movies we talked about that, like, not to pick on grown-ups, but something like that. I would much rather watch 2 hours of the behind the scenes of them just making each other laugh and having fun instead of the film itself. But this, you can it's both. It's both like watchable as a silly film, and that they're just having fun making each other laugh. But the 2 of them together is perfect.
Yeah. So like one of the opening scenes is them just sitting on the couch talking in their ridiculous accents, just doing ridiculous stories of like who's attracted to, one of them being attracted to the guy on the plain Pringles can, and the other one really
Mr.
likes
Peanut.
Mr. Peanut because he has a top hat and a monocle.
And you know that they had like 20 takes of different segments of that conversation each,
I just
and
want to see an uncut version of them just sitting there having
yeah.
those conversations.
You
It
know, like
is,
the script probably has just, Kristen says something funny, Annie says something funny,
yeah,
insert silly dialogue here.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So, but
It's stupid.
after having that conversation there, they go out and they run into their friend that tells them, "Hey, you need to go to this place in Florida called Vista Del Mar." And so that leads them on the journey down there where they run into other characters. One of them being Jamie Doran's character, who does the ridiculous music video. And there's just these random moments throughout that we appreciate. So we want to talk about like some of the randomness, and we're going to also talk about like some of the commitments they have to long jokes throughout,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
this is, I would say this movie is almost the opposite of slapstick. Like grown-ups
yeah,
always tended to go more towards the slapstick, and this was kind of veered away and still kept funny. And I felt like
yeah,
it always earned the laughs that were there.
yeah.
Um, so Zach, what were some of the random parts in this that you very much enjoyed?
Most all of it is pretty random, and it does that well. The like you said, the when they first started just singing randomly, that I enjoyed. I don't know if I'm taking this one away from you. There's a gag with, it's well set up. It just mentions the kind of the villain, also played by Kristen Wiig, mentions that she taught the mice in the lab a few things, and then just continues talking. You feel like they're about to cut to it, but they don't. But then like they have a whole conversation about something else, and then the end of that conversation, it cuts to, you hear like a dun dun dun, and it cuts to, it was mice on violins, and then she, gives a comment about their performance, and then they hang their heads in shame, and then it cuts to something else, and they never
Yeah,
revisit that again. Just yeah, the random silly stuff, like it's, absurdity, but done
yeah,
well. It's over the top, but not in a bad way.
yeah,
It's just silly, kind of Austin Powersy, but it doesn't descend into, some of
yeah.
the stuff that sometimes descended in. But again, that was its style. This is a little more like a mix of that kind of thing, like a
Hmm.
90s kind of silly spoof, but mixed with more kind of Portlandia sensibilities, like how everyone is just dry and super serious about it, about what they're talking about
Yeah,
the ridiculous, flavor of comedy,
yeah.
but just taking it super seriously. And but it's a lighthearted, silly. Yeah. What else was random? Again, yeah, this
Um,
that song, man, where he mentions the cat. That line especially, I absolutely love. A cat of a palm tree and seagulls in
yeah,
that same song. Just that whole song has so many random, silly,
yeah.
funny things in it. Um,
Richard
Richard Cheese.
Cheese. Richard Cheese.
There's a lounge singer at one of the places they go into, and he's ridiculous. That clip and the Seagulls, "Can You Hear My Prayer" song,
Yeah.
were the two clips that he sent me. I was like, all right, I have to see this. I just, yeah, and just that, like I said, them two,
Yeah.
those two together, Kristen and Annie, Kristen Wiig, Annie Mumolo, like their chemistry and friendship
Oh,
and
it's
just silliness.
fantastic. Yeah.
Just they play these like 90s moms that love culottes, but there could be set anywhere. It's kind of like that, like, like Nacho Libre has this like old 90s
Hmm.
silly quality, but it could be set anywhere. It's kind of timeless. Or
Yeah.
like Napoleon Dynamite, kind of same thing. It has this 90s vintage feel, whatever. Or they make, not vintage, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like, but it could be set anytime. But
Yeah.
there's something old about it, and silly. And but
Yeah.
this is different. It's just lighthearted. I liked it.
Yeah. Uh,
Everything in the movie, everything is
yeah.
random, and it makes me happy.
So I'd say I don't want to ruin any of the songs that Richard Cheese does. As much as we love them and we could laugh about them nonstop. One of my favorite little scenes in it was, so the Kristen Wiig's villain character has a sidekick underling called Yo-Yo, which is this gosh, what, like 12-year-old Asian
Yeah,
kid.
yeah,
And so there's one point where he's driving a submarine, and like obviously he's just sitting there like like he's not actually driving a submarine, but as you see in so many films, when people are acting like they're doing something but not actually doing it, they're always like moving their hands a lot. And like Kristen Wiig's character is like, now remember, Yo-Yo, don't keep it straight. Lots of tiny movements. Lots of tiny movements. And yeah, there's just some things like that where you're like, I appreciate they're making fun of themselves. They're
Yeah,
obviously, it's a comedy. They're
it's
not taking themselves seriously,
yeah,
but they're
it's
like, no,
self-aware.
let's poke fun at ourselves in other movies. And you also have the random scene where Morgan Freeman's a crab.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no explanation for it.
yeah.
And
He
like
just does like a
it's one
voiceover at the end as a crab. They'd
yeah,
never referenced it before, and they didn't need to.
that yeah,
Uh,
it was
how do
it,
it? Yeah,
yeah, it
they. It's
was
yeah. Comedy is hard to do, and they
yeah,
pick their style, and they're good at it. It's dry, it's silly,
yeah.
it's ridiculous, and it's random, and it made me happy.
And from knowing that, like, I didn't realize till after watching the movie that Jamie Doran did 50 Shades of Grey in that series, because I'd never watched that series, so I had no reference of like, oh, that's who it is.
Yeah, I
Um,
knew he was in that, and I've seen him and really liked him in other
yeah.
things. But yeah,
But like having this be my first experience with him, it's like, no, guy's funny.
yeah,
He can
he's great.
actually,
Yeah,
for being a serious actor, he can actually pull off comedy and does it well, and just like
yeah,
puts himself in it. It is so great to see
yeah.
that.
I
It,
enjoyed that of like everyone's really just he's just going for it. It's
yeah,
just like and it works. It's not sometimes
yeah,
it's like this, it doesn't come off as cringy or like, oh, he shouldn't do
yeah,
comedy. It's like, no, he's funny and like he's just
yeah,
going all out, just being as absurd as possible and it works for what they had. Yeah, it
yeah.
just it's great.
There's also that one scene in the beginning where just going back to like the randomness part of thing, like the talking club that they're doing in the beginning, and it's like, oh, it's 6 o'clock. Let's lock the door. Talking club has started, and then their friend Gail shows up at 6:01, and they're like, nope, it started. Go away, Gail. And like they never reference her again, and
Mhm.
like it's just completely random. But I love little things like that. It's one of the
Yeah.
reasons I loved Hot Rod so much, is that
Yeah.
they
I love Hot
committed
Rod
to
too.
those random things. And it's like, no, no, we don't need to explain this.
Yeah.
We can just enjoy it for what it is. Um,
You put me on a hot rod too, and same
yeah,
thing. I love that. Like that was better than it. We'll probably talk about that
yeah.
another
We'll
time, but
definitely
that
do an
was better
episode
than
on
it.
a hot rod.
Yeah, that goes under better than it should be, or like
Yeah,
pleasantly surprised by. And again, it's well crafted, and it
yeah,
is what it is. It's silly and sweet, and yeah, this was absurd and lighthearted.
yeah.
And yeah, again, the people in it are just great. Like little cameos, like the Talking Club, Vanessa Bayer. I love her.
Hmm.
She's one of my favorites on Saturday Night Live. Everyone in that group is probably
Yeah,
just a friend of theirs. If there is
yeah.
somebody that is just, hey, this person's
And if
great.
you're an
You got to
Office
do a little
fan,
something with her.
Phyllis from The Office was
Yes,
there
yeah,
as part of Talking
y-
Club, so I enjoyed
yeah.
seeing her there.
She's hilarious, and like, yeah, it's just gave them a chance just to play
Yeah,
together, and it
yeah,
works because it's just silly and fun.
yeah. Oh man. So yes, if you haven't seen this movie, go out and see it. It is well worth it. And the other thing that I'll comment on this, of just one of the reasons that I absolutely loved it, is its commitment to the long joke. So many times in comedies, it's that short, cheap joke that they go for, and they don't let things sit. They don't let things take the time that it needs to go from, oh, that was a short little chuckle, to, oh wow, they're still going on with this. This is getting better as they go. So they had like an incredibly long scene on an airplane, which I'm sure also brought them back to Bridesmaids, because both, like, they had a scene in Bridesmaids where it's Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo sitting there talking to each other, and that's what it reminded me of, because that scene was probably one of my favorites they had in that movie. And then in this one, they're just like going on and on about Trish, and how they love the name Trish, and then they created this character who is Trish, and just kept like saying, you know what her favorite thing would be? It would be this. She would wear
Oh
this.
my
She
gosh,
would do
yes,
this.
absolutely. She would love that. And they're like Fargo-esque, like
Yeah,
ridiculous accents. Yeah.
which
And everyone
no
on the
one.
plane is so angry.
Yeah,
And it's this long sustained sequence, and they're in tears about how much they love Trish, who doesn't exist at that
yeah.
point.
But she, they have a good callback to her at the end, so that's pretty good.
We'll let that be.
Yeah.
That's a silly cameo. That's random as
So
well. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you pick this movie apart, you'll find some things that you're like, okay, well,
Oh yeah.
that's a whole, like the point of this movie is to have a good time.
Yeah.
It is much better than it ever should have been. Coming from my perspective of seeing the previews and saying, well, there's no way I'm watching that, to actually really loving the movie and forcing you to watch it by sending you those messages.
And I hadn't heard of it at that point. I just saw that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance on this, and yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't regret it. It's turn your brain off, and
yeah,
it's super fun. But it's smartly well crafted.
yeah.
Like it's turn your brain off fun, but there's an art to that, and
There
they
is,
nail it.
and it has like childish joy in how they did it,
Yeah,
but it's not a kids movie.
yeah,
It is not a kids movie with some of the things they deal with, but it is fun.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's play. It's that childish
yeah,
like just play, but
yeah,
it's I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
yep.
They just turn your brain off and throw it on.
So it gets our fully bearded recommendation to
Is that we're playing with how we're
yeah,
rating?
yeah. This is a full beard recommendation, not a Fu
This is a must,
Manchu, not a
not a must.
handlebar mustache. This is full beard.
This is
Um,
full beard.
Full beard recommendation that if you're looking to have a good time, to watch something that is just going to make you feel good, this is the movie to do that. This is the movie to say, you know what, I'm gonna crack a beer open and just relax. Um, so there'll be many surprises throughout this movie for you. Damon Wayans plays a great character named Darley Bunkle in it,
Buckle, yeah.
which just even the little things to do with his character, like I love the little things of like they just kept adding it,
Yeah.
each interaction you had with him, it just added one more thing. And then the fight that they had at the end with his character where they're just like rolling, like no one's accomplishing anything, no one's actually throwing a punch, it's just rolling in the sand. um
They appreciate the power of a silly name as well.
yes,
I really
yes they do.
appreciated that.
Richard Cheese.
Yeah,
he's got
I
he's got 3 songs in the film. They're all fantastic. And also, the album for the film is on Spotify. So if you just want to listen to the songs, it's well worth it to listen to the songs.
yeah. Real quick, you could probably find this pretty much anywhere. I bought it on Amazon Prime. You can rent it, buy it. I don't think it's there for streaming in Prime, but you can rent it or buy it, and probably available, you know, on DVD and Blu-ray and other things. And but yeah, I got it on Prime. Check it out.
Yep. Well, thank you for watching. If you don't mind, give us a comment on what other ones you think should fall into this bucket of movies that you enjoyed watching that you didn't think were the greatest movies, but they're definitely better than they should be. Let us know what we should be watching next and talking and highlighting for others. Uh,
Agreed.
so thank you for watching again.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jeff Goldblum.
Thank you, Jeff Goldblum. Peace.
Peace.